I'm
You
trying to
don't
get.
care. You're trying to
I'm
stick a
trying to.
spoon on your nose.
I'm trying to get it to hang, and I can't. It's
You
so
can't hang
small.
with a spoon.
No, my spoon is too small.
Hi, everyone.
Hi. I
It is.
missed you, V.
I missed you too. It's Friday, which means it is time for another paint and slay. We've had an interesting little break as a result of holidays and other events that have been happening. And you did get a paint and slay last week that was a pre-recorded, so hopefully you enjoyed that little ditty. It was fun tapping back into the YouTube techniques. But hi,
Yeah.
we're live. Like, actually, we're live. Lauren and I are here. Hi.
We're back. Yeah, 2 more episodes before the end of the year, and we're gonna have some fun. And then we'll be back next year for more.
Yeah. Yes, we're coming back with more and some really cool stuff too. Can I show them the paints really quick?
Oh yeah. I mean,
okay.
you're the person in charge of all of that. So I'm here to support you in whatever you want to geek out about.
So, darlings, you have an assignment over the holiday break because I'm going to start using some really cool paints that WizKids sent both myself and Lauren. It is the D&D Prismatic Paint line. They send us both the basic starter case as well as the intermediate. But this is, I mean, just look at the names on some of these. This is what I'm going to be using in terms of paints for next year as we start painting a new round of miniatures for Paint and Slay. So we have things like Sea Hag Blue, Behir Breath, Displacer Beast, and just other really fun names that go along with this. Grey Ooze, Black Pudding, Flame Skull Green. So this is a kit that the basic as well as the intermediate, you want to be sure you get a hold of because I'm going to be pulling from this and the other case, which is a little bit more out of reach, but it looks the same. It just says intermediate. We're going to be using these for our painting miniatures next year. I'm really excited about that one. And then
I'm not just excited about it because it's a cool setup, but also like as someone who has been still trying to organize all of my mini painting things, the fact that it came in a little carrying case, I'm like, this is the best. This is the best.
Yep, they're really nice cases to have. So don't forget, we do have that lovely WizKids code that they've given us for dndmini.com, and I believe you can get these cases from there if your FLGS does not have them. And that should be December 10 off, which will give you 10% off your purchase at dndmini.com. So give that a look. But today, we're going to be working on another one of the really cool Frameworks minis, again, from WizKids. And this is the Night Hag. So we're going to be putting this Night Hag together. And really, my whole reasoning for this is because there's gingerbread boys. I'm like, okay, we're getting into the holidays. Look at run as fast as you can. You can't catch me. I'm the gingerbread man. And there's a lollipop. And there's a gingerbread person in a spell effect. So to me, it just kind of, I also have a thing for hags, but the Night Hag screamed happy holidays. Okay.
Yeah. Also, I love that even though we know that this Night Hag is not doing nice things, that this gingerbread man looks incredibly happy.
Right?
Now this might just because that's how they were made, and so they are unable to frown. But like this gingerbread man is super excited.
Look at that face. I mean, right there, you can see it. Look at that face. So we're gonna work on putting together this miniature set from WizKids, and again, we're looking at doing sprue, which is basically, you know, it's this Frameworks thing, hence the Frameworks. So we're going to be taking this apart and putting things together. All of the supplies that we're using today are supplies that are readily and easily accessible for everyone. There are other things you can get the more advanced you get with your miniature painting, like a sprue cutter, etc., etc. But these are tools that I purposely snagged that are more budget friendly and more readily found depending on what it is you need. So, I just saw the chat. Not my gumdrop buttons!
Yes, you're already in the holiday spirit. We're here for it.
Yes. So we'll be working with those. And basically what I did is I sat down because you do get this lovely little how-to guide from WizKids. I'm actually going to work on my Minicam focus because I realized we're not doing so much painting as we are doing.
Yeah, today's an assembly day for sure.
Yeah. So much as assembly. So I need this to actually be a little bit lower.
And while you're doing that, I will say that we have the amazing Martin in chat today as our moderator. They're going to be taking care of chat and grabbing questions. If you have any questions for V and I about painting, about minis, about PAX Unplugged, about Orkira and her awesome skin, and where she is she's an action figure, and I love it so much. Go ahead and put those in chat.
Absolutely.
The question in big capital letters, so that Martin can grab it and they can put it into our little backstage document while I am having fun with sprues.
Yeah. So you will get this little handy dandy assembly thing, but it's very much pictorial driven with kind of mentioning pieces. But what I did is I went through and I've spelled it all out quite literally. So we'll have a more detailed assembly for you in this stream. But before we jump into all of the goodies that come in this package with the two different opaque and the clear spell effects, the instructions and all that, don't forget we still have, isn't Warduke still available to unlock in Idle Champions? Don't forget to get Warduke. Okay,
Warduke. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that is a fun champion. Some tricky little things happening with what Warduke can do, and I think it's fun and hysterical, and I'm loving it.
Speaking from experience, once you wrap your brain around the inversion mechanic, because you do, you really have to, because you get so used to like, oh, Orkira is supposed to be back in a back corner and not next to, no, wait, I got Warduke. Orkira needs to be next to everybody. Once you wrap your brain around that, it's super fun. Yeah.
I think it was very clever the way Warduke got pulled together. So don't forget to do that when you log into the game. And oh yes, I forgot. No, I didn't forget. We also have the fun of It Is a Weekend for Figures of Action. So make sure you check that out. That's a fun thing to do. You'll get a free accessory gold chest. I'm sorry, but that chest is too dang adorable. And it's Orkira's bag. Yeah, it was too cute. I had to show that one off. So yes, that's what we're going to be doing this weekend, if you're wondering what's happening for the weekend promo. That all being said, let's start pulling this together. So we have two frames we're working with. We have the gray opaque plastic, which has the majority of these pieces that we're going to want to assemble together. And then we also have the clear plastic, which is the spell effects, mostly. I am going to try and assemble this so that when it comes time to prime, because you will need to prime this ahead of time, it doesn't come pre-primed. When it comes time to prime, we'll be able to access as much as possible. So we're not going to be doing this as a complete assemble it all together and then paint it. We're going to assemble parts together, prime them, and then we'll put pieces together towards the end. So it's sort of a two-step assembly, actually more than two steps, but just a heads up, we are going to kind of piecemeal how we put this together, because otherwise trying to paint all this fantastic detail you see on the front of the hag's body, it will be hidden by the cauldron if we were to put it together ahead of time. So the cauldron and the hag shall be divided for a period of time. They will be reunited at the end though. So that being said, you need your classic liquid super glue, not your gel. Okay, gel is brittly and falls apart and doesn't treat you very well. So you're going to want that. You're going to want what I use to help getting things off the sprues, a set of jewelry pliers. Now these are like, you can find them in craft stores. And this is what I mean by accessible and budget friendly. You can find things like this for as low as 99 cents in craft stores. So they're ubiquitous. They're not a special tool that it's difficult to find, and you can only find it online. So we're going to be using those. We're going to be using a basic nail file to help smooth off edges. And I mean, this is literally like your grandmother's nail file. It's just the cardboard, emery board, or you can use a metal one like Lauren had above my head. And eventually we'll get into priming it, hopefully today, and all that goodness. And then for any little bits that we need to fill in, we're going to be using that fun little super glue trick, along with, of course, I'm showing it white in white, baking soda to fill in seam lines. And yes, there are different things that you can use to fill in seam lines, but again, that's more of like the specialty stuff. Like you can get literal drops and stuff and everything like that from hobby stores. But I want to keep this something where people can jump in and get these things easily. So what do you say we get started?
Also, baking soda is just fun to play with.
It's fun to play with. And it deodorizes your desk. Just saying.
Which is good. As you know me, I will spill things.
Yep. So we might even put this into the Discord afterwards. Did I send you this part of the assembly notes?
No.
Okay, I will send this to you. We'll put this in the chat afterwards. But I went through each of the frames of the sprues to break down what's going on. So 1A is the front of the body, 1B is the back, 2 is the face, 3 is the right arm, 4A is the left forearm, 4B, 4C, 4D are your various left-hand options, because you do get to customize it a little bit. We're not kit bashing this like we did with Iris. We are going to customize it, but you are sort of following how this gets put together. And then you have 5A, which is the front of the cauldron, 5B is the back, 6 is the tray with treats, 7 is the pouch, 8 stony base, 9 candy cane with bow, and 10 gingerbread person. And I feel like I should be doing like 12 days of Christmas.
And a partridge in a pear tree. Yep. Yep. I was expecting it. That was awesome.
And then when you go to the clear sprue, A is bubble top to the cauldron, B is the steam with skull for cauldron, C1 is the front of the hag's back spell effect, C2 is the back to the hag's back spell effect. I know it sounds a little funny. C3 is the stem from the cauldron to the hag's back spell effect. Base spell effect is D1. D2 is the base to the right side of the spell effect of the cauldron. D3 is the left side spell effect of the cauldron. And E is your lollipop for accent. So we'll put this into our Discord so that you have those ready, because you do have the numbering, the lettering, all here, but just in case you're not sure what each of those pieces are, it'll spell it out for you just a wee bit more. Sound good?
Makes it easier than IKEA.
It do that. All right, so I'm going to put my notes right here, because I went through and I mentally put this together in my brain because I didn't have 2 sets of this.
Also, real quick, I'm going to say, Mad Hatter X, I would be wearing the fuzzy hat, except for 2 things. 1, it gets warm in here with all the lights.
Oh, yeah.
And 2, the fuzzy hat actually gets in my way when I'm trying to see.
Mhm.
But I do have a fuzzy hat.
It's a fuzzy hat.
Okay.
So right now,
taking out
we want to free 1B and 1A. So we're taking out the body portion of the hag. And again, with these lovely little jewelry pliers, I'm just going to nip it close to the form itself. You can kind of do a little wiggle and it will release. Never rush your sprue removal, okay? They will pop free with just a little bit of nudging.
Take your time.
Mm-hmm.
Go gentle. It'll come free eventually.
And you can see I have a little bit of sprue left on here, which again, you can go to your pliers and nip that off if you want, or I'm actually going to just quickly nudge that with the emery board, and lo and behold, ta-da, away it went.
Hey.
So just, keep your options open for best technique. And you'll find you'll alternate between using the emery board to nipping things down. It really just depends on where you are on the piece and what you are most comfortable doing for your own approach. All right, so that is the back of the hag removed. So that's 1B. I'm going to go in for 1A. Same thing with wiggle.
I'm sorry, very distracted by the fact that the front of the hag, because obviously we're going to get to do some customization, has no face.
Yes, the face is coming soon. Right now, this is like
face.
The stuff of nightmares, quite frankly.
Yeah.
When I was looking at how they assembled this, I was like, wow, that's not creepy at all. In other words, it was very creepy. Okay, just quickly get these smoothed out and remove them. Now I have that song in my head.
Which song is that? 4
calling birds, 3 French hens, 2 turtle doves.
That one.
And a partridge in a pear tree.
I was thinking about what you had just been saying, and I didn't recognize that as a song. I hadn't gone back far enough in my mind, but that's okay.
Yeah, 12 Days of Christmas definitely gets stuck in my head because that was like a family favorite when I was a kid. Like the aunts, the uncles would go around and they'd assign who would sing which part. So it's like, okay, you're 5 golden rings and you're 4 calling birds and you're 10 lords of leaping and everything like that. So we'd go around and sing the thing ad nauseum. My dad would always be given 5 golden rings because he'd ham it up.
Well, yeah, I mean, you have to. You have to.
Uh-huh. All right, so
that was one of the few Christmas songs I never got a chance to do very much of because if you're not singing words, if you're just instrumental, it doesn't work quite so well. All the other Christmas songs you can kind of get to work, except for that one.
Yep, that's true. All right, so I'm doing a quick test fit to see if there's areas I need to buff down a little bit, and I did have a little bit of sprue.
Apparently my head does not want to come together.
I hate when my head won't come together. So this looks like we're going to have to do a little pressure holding here with this. And we're going to have to do a little seam filling on the side here. At least with mine. It's not a perfect fit, which can happen.
Mine is pretty good.
Yeah, well, that's good.
Yeah, there's going to be a little bit of that pressure fit, but
yeah.
Not egregious. And I think there's going to be a little bit of seam on one side, but the other side is looking pretty darn nice.
Yeah.
So
I'm just going to buff this down a little bit more and
now
see
that
if that helps.
Now that I fix the head, that's coming together pretty well.
All right, that helped a little bit.
Mop.
Yeah, we're going to have to do a little pressure mount here. Okay, so we're going to put 1A and 1B together. That means grabbing the super glue and running a bead around the edging. And remember, you want to let this breathe a little bit. Get some air on that super glue, because that will help with the connection point. So, do we have we had our timers last time with Iris, remember? The chat helped us.
We'll just have to ask chat for more help.
Right? You get to be our countdown again, chat.
Yes, please help. For the moment, I'm just trying to get super glue on here without super glue in my fingers.
Oh, you will super glue yourself. That's guaranteed.
Yeah, but you know what? I'm going to try to make it
make it work.
Small amount.
Make it work.
A small amount. Also, the inside of this is probably going to have a fair bit of super glue.
Yep. Okay, so right now I'm just holding this closed. I think I'm going to hold this for like a minute.
All right, chat. We need 60 seconds on the clock,
60
please.
seconds. Do, 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 do.
Get on there.
See, this is where I should sing the 12 Days of Christmas. Thank you, Mad Hatter. We have a timer in the chat.
We have a timer. Thank you. Okay. I need the super glue on these fingers to dry. So I can
right?
Hold it again.
Yeah, I was doing the same thing.
Or else there's gonna be problems. Okay.
I love how the chat's like, we're on it. We've got you.
That we're all in this together.
Right? This is interactive. This is interactive mini assembly.
Interactive storytelling with chat.
Once upon a time, there was a little hag without a face who needed to pull herself together.
Yeah, it looks like one side of this looks really good, and the bottom looks really good, and then the bottom of another side looks really good, but like the hair on the left is I'm gonna need to do some seam filling for sure.
That's what I'm noticing too. So right now it just needs to actually hold close.
Mm-hmm.
Been a minute by your clock. Let's see. Oh, I am just okay. Looks like it needs a little bit more time because you can see it sort of just a wee bit.
Oh yeah.
All right, we'll do another 30 seconds.
Give us 30 more seconds, please.
Now I'm trying to think about songs that have the word time in it. Another minute running. Cool.
Okay, 30. We're at 30 seconds, so I'm gonna let go.
Yeah, mine is almost there. Oh, come on, honey.
Come on, dearie, pull yourself together.
I think mine is there. I'm doing a gentle, like I'm just putting it in my palm and I'm rolling it around. I'm like, does it come loose? Does it come loose? But I think we're good. Now I just got to fix this one seam on the side because, blah.
Yeah. Okay, so mine is wanting to hold together. I think it's still just a little bit too wet.
Meanwhile, I'm going to start going after my... Oh my God, why is this so sealed? I might not have opened this since the last time we used it with Iris. I have one of these cute little Tupperwares that, one of the tiny ones. You're like, what the heck am I going to use this for?
Well, I am the same.
Here it is.
Little Tupperware deal.
All right.
I think this is a seam filling on my end because the plastic is sort of warped away.
Yeah.
Oh, time after time. That's a good one. Yep. All right. So, gonna go back in and do a little run of super glue in what is the gap of the seam. And holding it upright so it kind of falls into that gap. Yeah, it's really that upper hair portion that's kind of me.
Yeah, same for me.
And then I'm taking a pinch of baking soda, sprinkling it in, quickly turning it upside down,
Tap, tap, tap.
and then blowing off excess. And what that does is it helps fill in that seam. So when you go into paint, ta-da, the paint won't sink into the seam. Let me grab.
It really is magic. It is.
It's
It is.
beamus.
Yeah.
And I'll take a brush and just remove the excess. Yeah. See, look at that. Look at that. I'm half tempted to do it over here. I think I might.
Yeah, I'm just going down the side with mine because
Yeah.
the one side and the bottom sealed up really, really well. And then the other
Same.
side, just not so much.
Yep, I ran into the same. Oh,
But that's okay because now I get to play with
Toasty.
baking soda, and I find that incredibly amusing.
Mm-hmm. Doodaloo-doodaloo.
It's like a wash, except way more crafty.
Mm-hmm. There we go. I like that way much more. That's better. Yeah. Yep. Oh, I'm turning to those things from Sesame Street. Yep.
Yep.
Yep. See, I remember watching that when I was a kid.
That seems looking way better.
It definitely helps. Okay, so now we're going to move over to piece 2, which is the face. The hag shall get her face.
I'm doing one more tiny little spot here, and then
Cool.
I shall be with you.
I'll be there.
And now all the super glue that was on my fingers is covered up by baking soda. And so,
Ooh.
hey, it
It's a
all
thing.
works.
It do that.
Okay,
All right.
stay there.
Just be careful when you're going to remove around the braids because the braids do want to bend and move with you. So gentle patience is required.
Okay, so the face?
The face.
The face.
We're all about the face. Face only a mother could love.
I mean, there's always the opportunity to just leave this hag as a no face and then come up with a custom
Right?
a custom no face hag, which might actually be more terrifying now that I think
I
about
would
it.
call that a nightmare hag. Forget night hag. That'd be a night. Oh,
Ooh.
I just got an idea for Koshmar.
Ooh.
Yes.
I mean, who needs
Yes.
faces when you're trying to scare people? The faces
Right?
are just redundant.
All right, so I'm going to do a little drop of super glue in there. And again, let that breathe a little bit. I'll put the cap back on. Ooh. Hello, awkwardish panda.
Hey, Panda, how you doing? Welcome to our hag time. Welcome to
ragtime, now
fun
it's
with
hag time.
putting craft hags. Welcome to craft hags. Here on Peyton Slay.
Oh, that would have been a fun name, the craft hags. And then that's just going to pop right onto the front. Quite straightforward. Like that. Literally just like, yep, this is where I live now.
Oh, I hope mine fits on as well. I'm gonna.
It barely gave me a choice. In fact, there was no choice. It's just like, on goes the face.
You mean this no face gave you no choice?
No face gave me no choice. Oh my goodness, look at her.
Ah.
Ta-da!
Get in there, super glue.
Then we have the fun of moving on to 3, which is that arm I was talking about. The full right arm.
Oh yeah, that face actually fits on there really
Mm-hmm.
expertly well. That's
Yeah.
impressive.
The face was little to no issue, which I will take. Get careful wiggles. Careful wiggling.
Okay.
Look, we're waving. Bye-bye.
I'm catching up. Okay, so this is the arm that was under the face.
Yeah. This is number 3, the one that's marked 3.
Number 3.
Yes.
Oh yeah, because that thing over there is a leg.
Mm-hmm. Wait, which? No, that's not a leg. That's an arm. That's the other arm.
Is that?
That's the customizable arm. Because the
Oh.
left hand, you can kind of pick and choose what you want to do with it.
Okay. I
Yeah.
saw that and I went, oh, that's a leg. Leg and a
Nope.
leg and a leg.
Nope. No legs involved unless you look at the gingerbread person.
I
Again,
gotta
I'm
make
just
sure they
buffing
cut off the
away.
sprue, but not the thumb.
Yes, don't you want the thumb? Don't lose the thumb.
Although once again, you know, for creep factor,
Yeah.
no thumb hag.
Now, let me see here. So, this is
how does this work?
Yo! Almost lost the hand. So this is going to live. Really?
Really?
Nah, brah. I guess so.
It's just a
It's basically it's
just a
a
flat
flush,
surface.
yeah, flush mount to flush mount over here. So you can kind of have a little flare going on with your hand positioning. You can make her look extremely extra. Exactly.
But yeah, that's gonna be
fun to attach.
Yeah, that's gonna be a lot of holding on tight and trying not to move. Oof.
Yep. All
right, chat. We're gonna need another minute on the clock, please.
Do 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 do.
Okay. Let's get up close and personal with my elbows propped. And
Yep.
all right, here we go.
And there you go. Hopefully. I'm actually going to see if gravity will be nice and do this technique.
Oh, the balance? You got the balance going?
I got the balance going for me. I'm trying to get gravity to be my buddy.
I might join you as soon as I know I can let go.
Yeah.
Hey, okay.
Definitely want this to sit for about a minute.
Yeah, and I'm going to need to do a seam fill on the bottom.
Yeah.
Because I got it mostly flush. But if it stays, there's going to be a little part of the armpit that I got to fix.
You know, looking at that, that's a good point. I'm going to sprinkle that right now. Yeah, that'll work.
No one likes an armpit that does not attach.
All right. Supposedly the minute is up. Cool.
So dramatic.
So there's that one. And then we have the pouch. We're going to attach the pouch to the hip. As it a hip, up, a hip, a hip, a hip, hop. So I'm going to remove 7, which is
Thank you everybody in chat.
Yes, it helps having
we got Graphic Wolf, Bookish Oddish, Travelers,
Mad Hatter's helping too.
Mad Hatter, yep.
Thank you.
Thank you all for being our timers.
We can count on you.
What are we grabbing again?
The pouch. Which is number 7. She looks ready to throw snowballs. Oh my gosh, that would be a riot.
Considering how often I've been thinking about snow when I pick up the words, words that are things.
Baking soda?
The baking soda. Yes, thank you.
Welcome.
Yeah, we could totally put a snowball in her hand and it would.
Okay, so I'm going to do a test fit. The pouch is supposed to rest here. Okay? That's where it's supposed to happily live.
On her left side.
On her left side. Look at that. So theoretically, we should be able to put a dop of a dop. That was like a drop and a dab combined together. A dop.
It is a technical term for those of us who do mini painting. Absolutely.
Put a little bit of super glue onto the pouch.
I think I see where that's supposed to happen.
Yeah, we've had the discussion about Alexa. I'm never using Alexa again. That thing is creepy.
Since I got my new phone, I have been using the Google equivalent. Smart. I have it on mute, so if it turns on, it should be okay. But I figured it'd be sorry, I was super glued to the pouch. Super glued to the pouch.
Fair.
I have found it to be very useful because my old phone was old enough that it didn't always activate when I would call out to it. But actually for things like this, if I didn't have the lovely people in chat helping out with those timers, I would absolutely be like, hey, phone.
I'm just give
me this timer, give me that timer, give me all the timers. Ah. I got it on there and it's happy, but my fingers are still covered.
Yeah, if you get super glue on your skin, get yourself some acetone-based nail polish remover, and that will help clear your skin of the super glue. Just a fun little tidbit tip there.
That will be a post-show fun. I might just I'm gonna grab some of this baking soda so that I'm not sticking to myself.
Okay, so now we're gonna go to 4A, which is the other arm, basically. 4A.
Okay.
I'm gonna foray into the other arm.
Okay.
Carefully nip that away. There we go.
God, even though I know it's an arm, it looks
has
like a leg with a little
qualities. Yeah, it does. I mean, if I were to hold it like this, no one would. I mean, it looks like a leg.
Well, and especially with mine, with where obviously now I can see it, the hand that we're going to customize is attached to.
Yeah,
but without that hand, it's a leg.
Gotta get a leg. Well, I mean, they are appendages, both of them, arms and legs. Arms are basically miniature legs.
So we've been doing all these creatures, and this is the first time in a while that we get to talk about arms and legs and armpits and abs and all those things on a humanoid body.
We're anatomically correct in terms.
Exactly. We actually get to talk about arms and legs and have them be arms and legs.
Okay, so we're going to we're going to attach this portion of the arm to the hag.
And which direction? Because this is also another flush attachment.
It's sort of like it's supposed to be
more
forward facing, but I think you have a little bit of a wiggle room with this one. So if it's not perfectly, you're still good.
That's good because guess what? Mine's not going to be perfectly.
Same.
And that's fine.
Same. So I'm going to let that super glue breathe a little. I'm actually amazed.
All right, chat, once again, get ready with that timer.
All right. So I shall.
Here we go. All right, give me a minute on that clock, please.
Ooh. Please stay.
Please stay. And then please don't get attached to my fingers when I let go.
I'm playing that game too. Ooh, okay. Gravity's gonna work for me. Gravity's gonna work for me. We're just gonna live with it like that.
Thank you, Panda.
Thank you. And I'm actually going to insurance policy this with some extra baking soda.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna do the same.
There we go. Yeah.
Especially under that armpit.
The underarm pitties.
Isn't it?
Although putting some baking soda in the under armpit, I mean, that's where you want to put baking soda, right?
It actually is good for your actual skin. Actually is actual.
Yeah.
It is good for your skin. It's supposed to be better. And yes, Awkward Panda. Mini painters telling inanimate objects to stay is an entire mood. I talk to my minis far too much, and I'm not talking about Helen. Because I know I talk to Helen way more than I probably should.
I talk to myself. So the fact that now there's at least something that you can address, I think is a win.
Yeah, agreed. All right, I'm just going to brush away. Oh, that nicely adhered. I am happy.
Me too.
Now you and I get to have some fun and decide which of the hands you want.
Okay. So
there's one that's holding a human heart. There's one that is just, that's what it is. There's one holding a heart, which looks very human hearty. There's an open hand, and then there's one holding an apple. I think I'm going to go for the apple. Because again, we're going to like holiday treats is where my brain is.
Oh, yeah. I was going back and forth between the apple and the heart, and I'm leaning towards the apple as well, just because it's really, like, there's a surprising amount of detail in this tiny little apple.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think I'm going to join you on that apple.
Bless you.
Thank you.
There was a sneeze off screen. Sorry.
Off-screen sneeze.
Yeah, one of my littles is not feeling well, and so I have the door open today to keep an ear on things. If I'm suddenly getting up and walking away and saying, "Lauren, it's all on you," it's because little needs mama.
And that's okay. It's one of the nice things about having two people together on stream is I can drop an apple. One of us can take over.
I didn't mean you.
Oh, did you just drop it too?
No.
Hi, kitty.
Rory like jumped up behind me because I'm perched on the edge of my seat. And I accidentally bonked her because I didn't realize she was right there. I'm like, whack. Hold on, my chair is furry. Thank you. I hope so too.
I'm going to use the pliers to hold on to this while
Yeah, pliers or tweezers are fantastic.
Yeah, because my fingers are too big to hold on to this apple and get this sprue shaved down at the same time. Okay.
This is gonna be the fun part. Okay, little
Oh, geez. Yeah, now we got to get the hand onto the arm. This is getting even smaller.
Dun, 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 dun. We are in Mission Impossible. Let me drop that file because that's impeding my view.
All right. That's where the wrist is. God, that's such a tiny little wrist.
It's a bitty bitty.
It's so tiny.
I'm afraid to move.
Okay. All right, here we go.
It's sticking.
Yeah.
It's sticking for me. I'll take it.
Mine isn't just yet.
I'm tempted to insurance policy this one, but we'll let it dry. So I think right now. Yes. So this is the point where we're going to let the hag basically definitely dry with all the glue connections. So I'm going to set the hag. Helen. Here, hold her hand.
On there, look at that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Exactly.
Nobody breathe for about 10 minutes and let that just sit.
Don't move. Don't breathe.
Just stay over there.
Just stop.
Breathing. No, nothing. Okay. All right. That
God.
was the smallest thing I have ever assembled ever. Ever.
And the fun thing, you have these hands that you can just use for, fodder for scatter if you want.
For that hand monster, if you're playing through Radiant Citadel and you need that creature that's just hands.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so now we're going to do the cauldron. So we're going to jump to grabbing 5A and 5B, and I'm just going to wiggle them off of the sprue. Oh, wiggle, 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 wiggle. Actually, I'm going to have to do a little snip for the front of the cauldron because it has a 3-point. There we go. Usually once you get 1 point gone, you can just do this little back and forth wiggling, and oh wait, it'll go. It will need to just buff down where the connection points were. Random hand reaching out of the cauldron. Now there is a thing of nightmares too. You could, if you wanted to spin it that way, you could. And just omit the spell bubbles. This is the fun thing about sprue minis is that you can kind of get into your own little custom kit bashing here and there with it.
Which I really like that idea. Yeah. If I'd gone with the human heart in her hand, I might add on with another hand in there. That would be super cool.
That or it could be just Thing helping out. I have binge watched that Wednesday on Netflix, and I'm watching it again happily.
Oh, wow.
Not even a week later. I am adoring that show.
Good. That is one of the many things that maybe over the break I'll catch up on.
Oh, it's worth a watch for sure.
I'm so behind on TV. I did, thanks to a couple long plane rides and also getting ahead on it before I left. I did finish Aaron M. Evans' latest book, Empire of Exiles. It is excellent. Highly recommend.
See, I think I need to get it on audiobook because what I've realized is I do so much reading of sheets and presentations and emails throughout the day. My eyes get too tired at night to actually read. So I have
That makes
tried
sense.
reading her book, and my eyes start to like dance across the page, although it's like my cell phone. So I think I might also get it in audio form and listen to it over the break and see if that helps. Because I really, I'm already sucked in. Like the first chapter, I'm like, oh, I'm here for it. But then my eyes are like, yeah, but we're not.
Ow, I'm super glued to the pot.
Oh,
Okay, there we go.
oh.
Nope. Oh, jeez.
Slight wiggle.
Yes. Highly recommend. I actually got the physical book because I've been trying to do things away from a computer screen. So while I did get the digital just in case, I actually made myself pre-order, and I've done this for a couple books now. I'm looking over here because I literally just have a small stack of books, and it's been nice to for my eyes, and then just also for I don't have to be in front of a computer screen. Now I have to be somewhere where there's light, which isn't always easy in my apartment. I've found out now that I have books that I want to read is like, oh, I want to sit here in the sumo, but there's no overhead light or anything. So I have to make some adjustments. But yeah, being able to have the physical book was a nice change of pace. But yeah, getting it on audiobook, part of me kind of wants to also get it on audiobook, mostly because I want to hear how a lot of those names are pronounced.
Yeah, that too.
And what I might end up doing is re-listening to so Trevor and Aaron and B-Dave are all on that writing about dragons and shit. There, I'll just say it because why not? That podcast that they do. And one of the more recent episodes is just Aaron and Trevor talking about the book, and Aaron talks a lot about the world building in it, but she very specifically, as far as what I need, rattles off a bunch of names. And at the time, I had only read like the first chapter or two, I think. So, I wasn't really hardcore paying attention to how things were being pronounced. And now I'm like, I need to go back and be like, okay, how did she pronounce this? Yeah. Because I have an idea. I was also doing that thing that I don't know if everybody else does it, but like I read and then every once in a while I just stop and I look at a word and I'm just like, Amadea? Amadea. And I just have to say it out loud a bunch of times until I find a pronunciation that I think is right.
Oh yeah, it's definitely a thing. I mean, especially with a lot of D&D things, because I'd read the things, but rarely would I say them out loud unless I was suddenly playing that particular campaign or what have you. So there are certain words where I know now, I'm like, okay, so that wasn't the actual pronunciation. In my brain, it worked for while I was reading it, though. Yep.
And there's been other books. There's been other books that I read a while ago that just in my head I was saying one thing and then, they got turned into movies, or I heard the audiobook version or whatever, and all of a sudden I'm like, oh yeah, that's a lot different. And you know what? Now that I think about it, that's actually correct because I'm missing a whole vowel. Yeah. A whole gosh darn vowel.
Whole vowel just went out the door. Took a walk. All right, so I just put the cauldron together and I did some seam filling on that one as well. Okay.
Oh, Willamist23, thank you for joining us. The hand came off. Oh no. I was just grabbing my granny and the hand came off, so I'm gonna have to reglue that.
Okay.
Yeah, I thought it was done. Don't feel like, I miss painting so bad. I'm just going to come out of this with severe jealousy. Well, hopefully you can just kind of enjoy us hanging out and me struggling to get this hand on this hag because I was so proud of how this worked and now I got to do this again.
Yep. Okay. Right. So I'm dipping in now to the clear spells on the clear sprue, I should say. Okay. So I'm taking off D1 and D2. Right? D1, D2. Yeah.
I'm going to take another moment and reattach a hand.
Go for it.
I'm going to try anyway. We're going to see. Come on.
Give it a hand. Now keep in mind this plastic is more rigid. And
Oh, the clear stuff, yeah.
Yeah. This is from Willow Mist, the D&D Frameworks miniatures line from WizKids is the Night Hag that we're working on today. Okay. Did it do? Yeah, it did. Maybe even a little bit more than I needed it to.
Sit. Okay, I'm gonna let that sit for a little bit longer, and hopefully this time it stays. All right. Which one are we pulling off?
We're going to the clear ones, and we're doing D1 and D2.
D3. Where are you? D1 and D2. Aha.
Mm-hmm. Oh, there we go. Oh, perfect. That nipped it beautifully. Yeah, if you're not aware, jewelry pliers have what's wire nip right here that you can use. So that's why it's great with sprues, because you can line it up and quickly... I don't want to show you my nail. I just got my nail to grow out. But you can nip it down a little bit.
Okay, and... Yeah, which I'm actually going to do with this sprue. Some of them are a little too close for comfort, but a lot of them, it just, the whole honking thing just comes off.
Honk.
Honk.
Honk, honk. Okay, so this belongs... Hold on a minute. You're supposed to live here somehow.
Well, you figured this out. I'm going to go after this hand with some more of the,
right?
The baking soda. I'm not going to take any chances.
Oh, there we go. I think that is... Right? Yes? No? Maybe? Who is your daddy and what does he do?
Baking soda, save me.
I have puzzlement.
Well, what do the IKEA instructions say?
That's what I'm looking at right now.
Oh, okay.
It's more the orientation that I'm kind of like, on. All right. Oh, I see what I'm doing. Derp.
Stay. Don't let go of that again.
Okay. Got ahead of myself. D1 and D2
Meanwhile, I should take a moment. We did actually get some questions on in.
Lovely.
So I think you answered Willow Miss 23 was asking what set is this from? That's we got that.
Yes.
Question Colin wants to know, did Luke get into a game at PAX wearing his Warduke costume? He not into a game, but he got a chance to walk around in the helmet quite a bit and got a lot of lovely comments. And he did get a chance to play some games, but he wasn't wearing the helmet at the time. Lightning Hawk wants to know, when does the CNE holiday start and end? So, and I'll preface this by saying, while a lot of us will be out of the office, there's still going to be people keeping an eye on everything. If you're having trouble and you need to submit a support ticket or anything like that, there's still people around. There's not going to be any streams. Yeah. We're just going to be, taking some time off. So the last regular day is a week from today on December 16th. And then we're off basically the 17th through December 1st. And our regular operations begin again on December 2nd. Although that first week that we are back, it's probably going to be a very, very, very light week of streaming. Sorry.
Yeah, that first week in January is definitely very lit. Okay, so I figured it out. So
yes, please.
This little swirly piece, you see how there's like that little...
the extra bit that goes...
Yeah, the extra bit. So that you're going to pick up the other piece and put that towards the left side of it, and they marry together like that. Okay? So that was like, I'm like trying to figure out the orientation of it. So that is how these marry together. So I'm going to get...
I'm still working on it, but I think I see what you mean.
Yeah, it took me a little bit to see it finally and have it fit. That's why I was like, one moment, please.
Yeah. That gave me a chance to catch up on questions. So
yeah.
All right. Either I'm going for the wrong spot or I need to take care of a screw. Oh, maybe it's there. I think I see this now. Okay, I think I see where it goes. So I'll answer some more questions in just a moment, but before I lose where this spot is, super
Right.
glue.
I'm definitely having to hold this in place. Ha 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 ha. Da 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 da.
And Devil Crayon wants to know, do you know if model cement also works with the framework kits?
I mean, if it works with other model miniatures, it should. I'm not one who got into using model cement personally, so I can't speak to it. But yeah, if it's something where it's model based, you should be okay. As long as it's not like the flexible stuff that floats around out there. You don't want that type of connection.
And Rex Verdi wants to know, what was your favorite part of PAX? Which I'll answer first, and it's a more general thing. Well, I'll be specific about the general thing, which will make sense in a second. My favorite part is getting to see people that I sometimes only get to see once a year or less.
Mm-hmm.
And very specifically, it's usually the evening hangouts. So Sunday in specific, Sunday night, after the convention has closed, after everybody has kind of, after the shops have closed up, hanging out and just getting a chance to talk with people that who aren't needing to run off, who aren't getting pulled in 20 million different directions, who are not having to be terribly concerned about getting up early the next day. Hopefully some people do still, but yeah, that's by far my favorite part of PAX is being able to chat with people, and then very specifically being able to chat with people in the evenings when we can just kind of relax and have some food.
Yeah.
All right, I think
I hiccuped and it jumped off on me.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Well, while you put it back, what was your favorite part of PAX?
Honestly, I like being able to similar, like just reconnect with everyone that I haven't seen in at least a year. But also getting to walk the expo floor and seeing who's doing what, when, and where, because I always appreciate being able to reconnect with a lot of the vendors that I have, purchased from, worked with, etc. for the past 5 years or so. There we go. Okay, now it's living happy. Yay. There we go. That's definitely, for me, it's surprise. I like working with a bunch of different people. So for me, it's just seeing people in general and like the haze from across the room and catching up, and whether it's sitting at a table or whether it's going to a bar afterwards or what have you, it's always that reconnecting and getting to touch base with everyone. It's always a lot of fun.
I like that part a lot.
Me too. All right, before I ask more questions, which keep them coming, because we have the lovely Martin is grabbing those questions and putting those into our backstage chat so that I don't miss those. But meanwhile, it looks like we are attaching stuff to cauldrons.
So, did I do this wrong? Hold on. I don't think I did a bad.
And this is going onto the back of the cauldron?
It's going to attach to the... Oh, I see. Is this it? This is the fun thing with sprue minis. It's going to attach somewhere around here. But I'm trying to figure out the where of it. I want to say it's supposed to be
like... I was going in the complete opposite direction.
Or is this is...
Oh,
that's right. It lifts it. It lifts it up like that, so it's floaty.
Oh,
yep.
Okay.
That's what's happening here. So before we do that, I think we might want to get D3 on the other side of the cauldron. So we got to go back to D3. D3. Yeah.
Okay, I might have left on a sprue, or I've done something wrong. I can't tell. I thought I got that the correct way. Huh. Well, let me grab D3.
Yeah. Okay. One ringy dingy.
Oh, you're over there. Geez.
Yeah. Okay, well, that just wanted to come off and do its own thing, apparently. There we go.
I mean, sometimes these are just gonna do what they want to do.
It's just gonna do what it's gonna do. There we go.
All right. We did also have a question from Doran, who wants to know, what is your favorite holiday food? Also, they said, I hope the entire staff of C&E has a wonderful holiday with their family. Thank you.
Thank you.
Whoa.
Monkey pole cake. Which
I'm sorry, what?
I was going to say, which probably not everyone knows what this is. I grew up as a little girl. It was called monkey pole cake in my family. And you basically take bread, roll it into little dough balls into a mixture of like cinnamon and sugar and spices and butter. And then you put it into a bundt cake and fill the form of the bundt cake up with these little cinnamony dough balls of goodness. And you can sprinkle in things like walnuts and dates and raisins and craisins and all this other good stuff. Slayer Von Dane is calling it monkey bread. So I grew up, monkey pole cake is what it was in my family.
Interesting.
Others are calling it monkey bread. So this might be a regional thing. So there you go. That is something I adored getting to make. And it was just, it was fun memories and very hands-on type of stuff. So yeah, I have fond memories of that. So for those of you who called it whatever it was you called it, cool. But yeah, it was monkey pole cake when I was a kid.
Interesting.
Yeah.
All right, so I was
D3
watching
wraps
you as
nicely around this little nubbit area. So I'm going to put D3 wrapped around it.
Yeah, the right-ish side of the cauldron.
Yep.
My favorite. I mean, I'm assuming we're also talking specifically about this time of year holiday.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, jeez. Favorite food. I mean, there's a bunch of food that I usually only get a chance to have this time of year, even though it is not necessarily holiday food.
Mm-hmm.
Like usually this is when I finally get to have homemade latkes. If I'm going to make them, it's the one time a year I try.
Yeah.
Cool. And if other people make them, if I happen to be with my family or something. So it's a chance for me to have latkes. I mean, gelt is fun, but it's hard to get really high quality gelt sometimes, if that sounds like,
no,
in America.
Yeah, because where I am, there's, some of it's not good.
Yeah.
And
chocolate is not necessarily something that Americans know how to make high quality. Yeah. I'm just going to say it because it's true. Yeah, I think that's it. Like Christmas and Hanukkah and New Year's are not, there's a lot of delicious foods that are associated. And of course there's cookies aplenty. And all kinds of amazing things, but I can't think of a specific thing, like with some other, like with Thanksgiving, stuffing, with Halloween, it's very specific candy, like some other things have a one or two specific things, but I think for the end of the year, it's kind of just the general meals, but latkes would probably be the thing I would say.
Yeah.
I think I got.
Yeah. So
I think I got mine.
This little piece is going to wait until we go into assembly mode. So put that off to the side, someplace safe. The one that sits on the floor. We won't be touching that until we do our final assembly. Let me put the hack back out of the way. And the same thing for the cauldron. We just have one little bit left, and that is the bubble top.
Bubble tip.
The bubble top, which is right here with A.
Big tall one?
Yeah. No, this one right here. This is the bubble top right there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's going to go into the cauldron
That makes way more sense.
Yeah. Let me see that bubble top. Doopa-doopa-doo.
There we go. All right. Well, this, I hope, is easy to get on in there.
Yeah, it's pretty self-explanatory.
It should just
You
sit.
will want to
Let's
test
see
fit
what
just to be sure it fits.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
Because, you know.
The sprues.
Exactly.
Mm,
It's not quite resting fully for me.
Yeah, me neither. I mean, it's not bad.
Yeah, I'm kind of rotating it to see if there's like a sweet spot for it.
I'm
Not quite.
also
Okay, so that's actually not too bad. That's just a matter of using the emery board and shaving it down a little bit.
Yeah, I'm being a little more aggressive with where the sprues were to see if that helps.
Imagine putting the
Almost.
super glue on first and then realizing, wait.
Oh, jeez. Oh, jeez.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this needs a little bit more. Because you know what? Once you put it on in there, if it doesn't absolutely seal, if it's too small, that's what the baking powder
Right.
soda is for.
Too small is better than too big, because too big then gets very awkward. You gonna live in there? You gonna live in there nicely? Almost.
Yeah, mine still needs more. Jeez.
Yeah, same.
Meanwhile, let's see. Caleb Marin wants to know, I missed PAX Unplugged because first my plans fell through, then second plans fell because of chronic plane flare. Oof, sorry about that. Either of you have any tips for working through or around a flare? I miss you guys at PAX Unplugged.
I actually had a big flare while I was there. You'll see me at most con events wearing a corset, and my corsets are actually my back support. It's functional and fashionable. What I try and do when I have a pain flare happening is make a point to take breaks, literally stretch out, take it easy. And that definitely does help. It also helps to kind of make note of like little corners and spots where you can go and sit if at all possible.
The AFK room.
Yeah, the AFK room is fantastic for that. Also, panels are a great place to kind of just rest and recuperate a little bit, but still feel like you're quote unquote doing something. So kind of make note of the panels that you see going on there. Because they could be like little points where it's like, you know what, kind of getting tired of walking around, want to go and take a sit. You can go and enjoy a panel and really gain some valuable information from the panels while you're recuperating from like maybe being overly use of spoons type of situation.
Yeah.
But yeah, I am a fellow spoonie. I had to be careful. I overused my spoons on Friday and it was not pretty. I do not do what I did. I had like all of 5 pretzel bites the entire day, and by the end of one of the games, I stood up and I got dizzy because I was undernourished. So don't do that. Be good about keeping on top of your liquids, your beverages, your beverages,
the liquids,
and your foods. So yeah.
Yeah, I find if I can get if I can get in a good breakfast in the morning, like a nice healthy good breakfast, and I'm not usually a breakfast person, but I kind of force myself to go and have, you know, a fruit and yogurt and oatmeal and, you know, really hearty good breakfast stuff, then it's a little easier for the rest of the day with dealing, especially when food options might be more limited or I'm more in a hurry. For me, because most of my issues are neck and jaw related, and I do a lot of talking, so that's what gets in the way. Having a place to go where I can just be quiet, and not even that it's a quiet space. Like the AFK room is absolutely fantastic, but a lot of the time when I'm in a lot of pain, I just need to not be talking, but I can be listening. So yeah, panel or just, you know, I can still hang out with friends. I just gotta let them know. I'm like, I need, until the ibuprofen kicks in, I need to just not for a while. And then for me, one of the reasons that I try to keep my hotel space as close as possible to the convention center is because just going back to the hotel and getting a hot shower, like, is the best recovery thing for me personally. Just a nice hot steamy shower and putting on some fresh clothes can help me a lot.
Yeah.
So
it definitely, like, having your boarding nearby the convention center is a huge help. It is
I
not.
know that's not always possible, but
Yeah, exactly. It's not possible. If you can arrange it, I definitely recommend that. It is worth it.
yeah.
Okay, we did that.
I'm going to answer this other question, but I'm waiting for the next set of instructions from V because, do I have feelings on this next question? But what are we doing first? No, it's a good thing. It's a good thing, but
it's also words are fun. Do you want to have? There's a couple of different spell effect options. So there's the one spell effect that is just the plume of smoky spell effect with skulls in it, or there is this other spell effect that we would want to put together that would then rest on the hag's back that has the gingerbread boy in it. Because they show just the skull effect one on the assembly box, or on the box in the front. So that's just like the plume.
Yeah, I'm kind of leaning towards that one because then we get to use the gingerbread boy in full on figure.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely makes sense.
So yeah, that's what I'm going to go for.
All right, cool. I'm debating.
Okay. Bookish Oddish wants to know best latke topping. So first, like there are multiple toppings for latke, and just like any other food product, like eat what you want, or drink what you want, have fun. Personally, I gravitate towards applesauce. And that is mostly because I'm not always in the mood for sour cream, although I think sour cream is absolutely delicious on latkes. I'm just not always in the mood for it. But when I am, then sour cream is also amazing. But no, I think both of them are fine. And if I am at a table that I have made, they will have both. Because why not?
There you go.
Yeah, Caliph Marin, I haven't had a good latke in a while as well. I am not the best when it comes to making potato latkes. I should look. I was able to find a halfway decent, not recipe, of basically hey, here's latkes already mixed up. All you gotta do is like add water and a few other things and cook them. Which is technically cheating, but I don't care. All right, how are you sitting on here?
So there is a flat portion, which is down here. So this is the plume that rises up like that.
Yeah.
So that's the rising up portion. I just want to make sure
I need to flatten this out even more.
Yeah. Do. So this is going to sit like that, rising from the cauldron. So it's kind of going to do one of these deals. I'm almost wondering if this is better off to hold off on attaching until later. We might want to hold off on attaching that point. Yeah,
because I'm getting the feeling that it's curved in such a way that it's supposed to also attach to something like on the body.
Yeah, it kind of. Yeah, so we'll leave that off. Like we'll get it. Excuse me, young lady. We'll get it painted up. Yeah, she won't leave me alone. My other child is laughing at me right now.
The kitties love you.
So we'll pop that one up there, and we'll take care of it later in terms of assembly. There's two parts of assembly. There is what we're doing now, and then there is a secondary assembly. Let's see here. And then we'll want to pop out. This is just getting the base itself out. Because at this point we should be able to attach the hat to the base, which would be helpful. And you said you want to do the gingerbread boy?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I like the whole body of that that thing.
So we can pop the gingerbread boy out, who we can prop up against, looks like the cauldron or the hag when the time comes. So we'll get gingerbread boy popped off of the sprue.
There we go. Get rid of the rest of that sprue on your head.
Mm-hmm. Give me a haircut.
See, after this, I'm going to want to have some gingerbread cookies.
Yeah. Right? Let's see. So then the other debate is, do you want to give the gingerbread boy the candy cane, which I'm sorry, that is absolutely adorable, or the lollipop?
Ooh, let me tell you.
I'm candy cane. I gotta do the candy cane. That is just too cute in my book. Pop that one out.
I think I'm also gonna go for the candy cane because the bow. Like I like them both, but I'm thinking about, okay, what kind of colors can we paint the bow that and the candy cane that it would stand out a bit? And the bow we can basically just make any color we want. So I kind of like that idea.
Great. So then the rest of this is pretty much, you can save it for other use, whether it's scatter. Like this would be great for a tavern scene because this actually attaches up onto the spell effect thing here, the little tray of tarts. So you can save this stuff for other things, but we'll focus on what we have now for the hag. Haggy mahaggy. I'm just gonna put everything back into the box.
Put you there with your base. And there we go.
I want to put the hag on the base ahead of time. Oh,
where did the? I just took the candy cane off. Where did it go?
Uh-oh.
Oh, there it is. Okay. It ended up under something.
That's not helpful.
Nope. Yeah, I'm gonna want latkes and gingerbread cookies. Okay, what's next?
Attaching the hag to the base. Which I think I have figured it out. If you look, there's sort of like this letter M shaped thing going on here.
Okay.
See that? Right here?
I think so.
That, I believe, is where the hag is supposed to rest. Right there. See? It kind of sits into place.
I think so.
So I'm going to attach the hag there. Yoink. Not going to do the cauldron yet, again, because we want to get the hag painted out first before we start assembling these together.
All right, chat, get ready for timing. You will once again require your assistance.
Yeah. Okay. Give me a beat. Give me,
drop that beat.
There we go.
I think.
Although really, I'm just going to set her down to hunker. There we go. Hunker on in there, dearie.
There's one spot that I think I might want to use a little bit of filler for. That didn't quite get flush, but the rest of it's pretty darn flush. So yeah.
Okay, cool.
There you go. Stay. Don't move.
Don't move. Stay put.
Just stay there. Don't think about doing anything else.
Just stay. Oh, won't you stay with me? Not a Christmas song.
Nope. But still something we can only sing
like
a line of.
A phrase of.
Yep.
Little girl, I don't know what you want, but you've got to stop. She is just, if she's not right behind my back, she was just where I like to put my feet down, and she got mad that I put my foot down.
How dare you not serve me in all things?
How dare you, mama? Okay, so I'm going to just quickly, it's been a minute. So I'm just going to quickly sort of brush off this excess baking soda. Where'd you get that brush? Little girl.
Your cat stealing your brushes?
She's got a brush. Yep, she got a brush.
Thank you, Mad Hatter. Appreciate it.
Yes.
Time
All
for a
right,
stretch.
so super glue can go away for now.
Woohoo!
You're done with the super
I got
glue.
enough of it on my hands.
But just make note of the pieces you have floating around. You have the hag on the base, the cauldron front, the cauldron itself. You have the candy cane and the gingerbread boy, which, oh my god, how cute is that? And then we have the two the two spell pieces that will attach at the end. So what I want to do now is we are going to need to prime black, the hag, the gingerbread boy, the candy cane, and the opaque portion of the cauldron.
Okay.
Okay. So we'll have to be careful working around this spell effect. But again, if you get paint on the clear spell effects, you can easily remove it with a little bit of rubbing alcohol, at least 70% alcohol content, I guess, is what we want for that. So that all being said, I really want to start this off as dark as possible. And I do have a gray primer. So I think what I'm going to do is mix the gray primer with some black, but then for the insurance policy, also mix in some Mod Podge Ultra Matte. Or Multra Matte, if you want to just kind of combine it together into one word. Matte.
Okay, now I gotta grab a black.
Mm-hmm. Hee hee.
Black. There we go.
Pardon my yawn. Oh, you know what I'm gonna do? Just gonna move these out of the way already. Put those over there.
Stay there. Don't go anywhere. Okay, so where are we mixing this? Just on the plate?
Yep, just on a plate.
Okay.
I don't know if you can hear the train rolling through, but it's got a very loud whistle today.
No.
I like the direction of the wind and how it's blowing.
Very atmospheric. All right, so I've got black and I've got the matte, and then you said you've also got a gray primer.
Yeah, just a gray primer that I'm mixing into. So equal parts that to the black, and then I'm going to put in the Mod Podge Ultra Matte. What's the matter?
Man, I haven't pulled that out in a while. Okay.
Right.
And then Mod Podge.
You live down there.
Come on. Come on. Come on. There we go.
This you can normally spray. Like, it's a pump action spray. However, I jammed it.
Oh,
Whoops.
actually, you know what? That's what I should do. I just thought you were doing a smart thing and
no, I'm
nice
doing
and
because
slow.
I was not smart with it before.
I think mine sprays.
Mine doesn't.
Let's find out.
Basically, I need to use this bottle up and then transfer over to another bottle. Start fresh when the time comes. So we're gonna end up with this nice dark charcoal black-ish tone. Not pure black, but definitely a dark charcoal.
This is definitely an interesting mixture.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's an interesting smell too. Oh
no.
It's okay. I think I just got my face a little close to it at first, but that was a tasty smell.
Okay. Great. And that's gonna start the primer up. And I'm not gonna use the same brush for painting that I just used for the mixing up. So I'm gonna move down to like a number 1 or a number 2 round to start painting. Sorry. Snuck up on me. I was like, I'm gonna stop it. Nope, not stopping it. And I'm just gonna start painting. I'm gonna start with the cauldron because that's a little bit more finicky because we want to paint around.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
So I'm just gonna dance this underneath the spell effect like so.
And how thick should this mixture be?
It should be, once all said and done, you want it to be about the consistency of maple syrup.
Okay. Mine might be slightly on the light side of
You should be
maple
okay,
syrup.
though. Yeah.
Okay.
If need be, you could always put an additional. It's better to be thinner than too thick. Let's put it that way.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
Because it sounded like you were about to say you can always put an additional layer on there.
Yeah, you could. If it's too thin and you're finding it streaky, you could do another thin layer.
Yep, and I'm definitely going to end up with black primer and super glue all over my fingers today. Today's just a messy day.
This is not a neat day.
Nope.
This
Nope,
is a
but that's
messy day.
okay. That's all right. That's okay.
Mm-hmm.
I took an incredibly short lunch before this, so I'll just take an extra little bit of time after this and get myself cleaned up.
There you go. Pull yourself together.
Yeah. I mean, I don't mind being dirty. I just don't like getting all this stuff all over my mouse.
Oh, God, no. Yeah. You don't want that to happen. There we go. Alrighty.
Oh, man, getting the lip of this is a challenge for sure.
Mm. Yeah, that's why I figured start with a cauldron so you get the fussy stuff done first.
Mm. Oh,
and
that
then
makes
just
sense.
go ham on the hag. Because all the hag area gets covered up.
Ham hag.
Ham hag. And I'm actually not worrying too much about getting the full base of the cauldron painted up. See how there's still a little bit of... That's okay. Because that's actually going to get glued onto the base. So it's all right to be like that. All right, I just set that over to dry. And now I'm going to paint the gingerbread boy or girl or person, whatever you prefer.
See, you were talking about going ham on the hag, and so I just grabbed the hag.
Well, go
I was
for
just
it.
like, yes, ham hag time.
Really, it was only the cauldron that had those little clear bits that we had to worry about. So the rest you can go completely ham on the rest of them.
That's true. That is
Yeah.
very, very true.
Do.
I will do the base last. I will come back to you in a moment. I need to be able to hold you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I just hit the point with a gingerbread person where I'm like, well, I was holding you by the legs. I may have to hold them for a little bit until other appendages are dry enough to flipperoo.
Yeah, I'm also still trying to be a little careful around the hand that's holding the apple.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still being cautious about that one. So we're just gonna lightly stroke.
Just ever so gently.
I guess this is the best test of all because eventually I'm gonna want to paint it, and
yeah,
if I can't do this, then the painting ain't gonna happen.
Yeah. This is all very true. Doing the assembly line.
All right. Yeah, there we go. There we go. I made it.
Ooh.
The apple is still attached.
Yay!
And there was much rejoicing. Yay.
Mm-hmm. That's what we're talking about. All right, I'll set you down for now. Alrighty. Right now, Willow Mist, we are using the Vallejo game color line. But you can really use whatever paints you have on hand. To be honest, I've used everything from Vallejo to Army Painter to Citadel to, yes, craft paints. Legacy. Clutch those pearls!
Oh no, not craft paint. No.
Clutch those pearls!
How dare.
Hey, I've gotten some pretty good.
While I take care of this base. Sorry.
That's okay. Not to worry.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah, that's the thing. You're going to find people have different paint preferences based on how they paint as an artist. So, really, what works for someone may not work for you, and that's okay. When you find a
Yep.
set of paints that you like and you are comfortable working with, that's your set of paints, and it's totally fine.
Well, that's one way to prime a gingerbread person.
Did
Okay.
you drop it in the primer?
I dropped in the primer.
Uh-huh.
Yep.
But we're doing the dunking method. I mean, it's a gingerbread person. They can totally be dunked, right?
Well, they were. Okay, now I just gotta clean it up a little bit here.
Not the dip.
Not the dip. Roll over. Ah.
Mind you, not speaking to a dog.
Nope. More talking to the gingerbread person.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. I just don't want to ruin that face. Okay, candy cane.
Fair. Oh, stop sitting where my foot goes. Just bonked her again.
Mad Hatter, if you do want some suggestions, I mean, not only were we just talking about the prismatic paints that V and I were showing off at the beginning, but if you come to our Discord, discord.gg/idlechampions, I got a drink. Hold on. We have a whole Paint and Slay channel where pinned to the top of the Paint and Slay channel is the information on the basic set of stuff that we've been using, brushes, paints, and then, paper plates, paper cups, that kind of thing. And you can check out the same set of paints that I've been using all year that have worked great for me, that were relatively inexpensive. And it was like a dozen and a half paints. It was a lot of colors. So there are definitely some options out there for getting a set that you can start with that is going to give you everything you need and more, and is I want to say it was less than $20.
It fluctuates, honestly. Depending on which store you're buying from, when you're buying. I've seen it go anywhere from, like, if you can get on sale, it can be about $20 up to maybe $30, again, depending on the store and the location where you're purchasing. But yeah. But these are paints that'll last you at least, if not more, a year, depending on how many minis you're painting.
Easily. I mean, we're on episode 52, and I still have plenty of paint. Like, it's going to be exciting to use those new prismatic paints, but I could go for a whole other year probably with the paints that I have. The black that I just grabbed is from that set. It's a lot of paint. They look like little bottles, but a little dab goes a long way.
I mean, I've had the paints that I'm using here for 3.5 years now. So yeah, they last quite a while, and you get mileage on those.
Yeah, I think after this is the end of this brush, which is fine. That's why I grabbed it.
Yeah.
Specifically grabbed this to be the end of the last thing for this brush to do.
Yeah. That's how it works sometimes.
We got that question in. So we've got about 20 minutes left before we've got Garwar's Guide to Everything, because Garwar is awesome. So any other questions that you have, either for mini painting or Idle Champions or packs or action figures, go ahead and put those in chat so that the amazing Martin can grab those. I'm keeping an eye on chat, but Martin is way better about grabbing the questions so that I don't miss them. And yeah, my hands are gonna need a good scrubbing after this. Well, the weird positive about not having, because Radiant Stories has ended. We did our 12 episode run. It went fantastic. But the good news is now when I get done with Paint and Slay, it's not a rush to try to make my hands not be all covered in stuff. Yeah, because for those 12 weeks, it was a lot of, okay, this was awesome and fun, and now I got to go scrub my hands so it doesn't look like I murdered somebody before I DM a show.
or do. you know.
Or, I mean, I wasn't running that kind of show, but
No, I know.
It was to be honest, it's less about the paint. Like I'm fine if I got the paint,
Yeah.
but it's less about actually having the paint on me and more either the super glow or the paint. I just start picking at it, and I get distracted by that.
Yeah.
I distract
That's
myself.
Fair. That is totally fair.
Caliph Marin says, I've seen those prismatic paints, but don't have anything to use them for. Well, good news. We are going to be using them starting next year. So come along with us. And actually, this is a good question for those who might be curious. So WizKids calls them prismatic paints.
Right.
Is that just a fun name, or are they actually different than what we've been using?
It's a fun name. They are Vallejo paints. They are standard paints, prismatic, colorful. Okay. They have some new colors in those sets, which are a lot of fun to see and work with. But they are standard mini painting sets. They also come with some extra bonuses like metallics, a couple washes, a couple mediums to change. Like there's one where we could take a paint of any color we want and make it metal. They give you the metallic medium that you can mix in with any color paint, and all of a sudden it's a metal color paint or a metal detail paint. So it's not like, I think some people think they're meant to be like color shift paints or that type of thing because of the prismatic factor, and people think, oh, prism, like it shifts colors. No, they're good starting paints, intermediate paints that you can use on your minis. You'll see some old classics like, I believe, Stonewall Gray is in the beginner set, as well as black and dead white. And then some other additional colors. There's one that's like, what's Goblin Green or something like that. They have fun monster names connect to them. There's Behir's Breath or Behir Breath, and there was definitely Black Pudding. So yeah. Dragonfly, yeah. The Dragonfly brand from Plaid, I absolutely j'adore. They do a beautiful job with color shifting. I use them all the time for spell details and everything on my minis that aren't painted on here, and things like that. So yeah, there's some craft paints that work really well for miniature details for specialty paints. I will say that. Okay, I think the Hagatha, is well primed. So let me finish priming up the candy cane and the gingerbread person.
Yeah, I just finished the candy cane and the gingerbread person. I'm going back and grabbing a few places on the cauldron that needed a second coat.
Yeah,
or I just didn't get accurately the first time.
Yep, you can go back and touch up. And then in terms of dry palette or wet palette, I use both. You'll see me use a wet palette when I know we're doing a long-term mini paint project. I'll do a wet palette on that one. For something like this today, where I know we're just basically doing the primer and not much else, I'm just honestly keeping it to a paper plate to keep it simple for cleanup afterwards. So yeah. There's your answer on that one. And then what else?
And since I do not have a wet palette, V has been excellent in, if we're doing something over several episodes and we have to mix any paints, not doing, making sure that we're done with the paint that we've mixed before we move on. So
yeah.
Just having that extra little bit of planning helps a lot.
And then do I exhibit any of these projects anywhere? I have my minis displayed in my office. That way, I have a big old bookshelf of minis that I've painted, and behind me in the bigger bookshelves, which you can't see right now because of how I'm cropped, there are other minis that I've painted back there. If you mean in terms of like photos and stuff, honestly, between my Twitter and Instagram, those are really good places for like the photos that I'll take of minis and I share. That kind of covers where I have my minis.
I also love the question, simply because, do you exhibit them anywhere? Now I want to put on a mini exhibit.
Yes.
Like a small mini exhibit. That'd be super cool. There was a lot of that at PAX Unplugged. Like you could do a lot of just kind of wandering around, because they were doing a whole competition that was happening during PAX Unplugged. So there were a lot of really excellently painted minis on display, up for awards, all kinds of stuff.
I honestly, I admire the people who can get into doing the competitive aspect of mini painting. For me, I can be professional about it and take on commissions and things like that, and obviously do how-to streams and tutorials and stuff, but I don't find the idea of doing a competition appealing because I don't want to add excessive stress to the process of painting a miniature for myself. And I think I would get stressed out trying to make things look just so, etc., that I know myself well enough to be like, competition mini painting is not for me.
Yeah.
But oh boy, what some people are able to do. Oh, stunning work. Really stunning work.
So let me ask, because I am
Mhm.
very curious, and I probably should have asked people while I was at PAX Unplugged, but
Mhm.
because we knew a couple people who had entered into the competition.
Yeah.
So when you enter into one of those painting competitions, what kind of, I'm assuming there are restrictions on what you're painting, how big of a thing you're painting, whatever it is. What are some of like the normal restrictions when you're entering one of those competitions?
Well, honestly, it depends on who's hosting the competition. I've seen some miniature painting competitions where it's like you have to use the paint of the certain brand. Whether it's Army Paint or whatever, or a certain miniature brand, Reaper. And then there's other things like, depending again on the competition, I've seen things in the past where it's like you can only use your primary colors and white and black, or you can only use earth tones or things like that. So depending on how they want to spin the category it has to be a large creature, it has to be a small creature. There's always little bits of how they can kind of make it unique to that specific request. So yeah, it's fun to, if you ever get interested, just take a look. Reaper has a lot of miniature painting competitions, a lot of conventions and just read through. It varies. It varies so much because of all the different competitions that are out there. Yes, you will have some that's like, you must use this particular mini, you must use these particular paints, and go from there. Or there are ones that's like, just show us your best work for a large miniature, and they'll leave it that open. They're like, we don't care what kind of paints you use. Yeah, it varies, but it's fun.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
That makes me want to look up what the restrictions were for the PAX competition.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, okay, do they have you paint the same mini? Do they have you?
Sometimes.
Is it just?
Yeah, sometimes everyone paints this mini. So it's kind of fun.
Yeah, that's super
cool.
It's
fun to see what people do. Not fun for me.
It's fun for some people to compete in. It's fun for all of us to admire.
Exactly. Yep, that exactly. Yeah. Okay. Now I'm getting... Who's behind me now? Oh, hi, Hemingway.
Hi, kitty.
There's Hemi. Say hi to the people.
I feel like the other thing I should do we want to talk a little bit, since we're getting towards the end, but we have a little bit of time, do we want to talk a little bit about what we've got coming up in the new year?
So that people absolutely
can start to plan, and this is something I can also put up in the Discord, discord.gg/idlechampions. Excuse me.
Frank.
Everybody in chat is saying hi to the kitty.
It's Hemi.
Let me pull up. Nope, that's the wrong list.
Yesterday.
Aw, happy birthday, kitty.
Yesterday. He's 6 years old.
There it is. Okay.
You good?
So, in January, when we come back, we're going to be doing a Modron. We're going to be having some fun with another Modron.
Mm-hmm.
Not the same Modrons that we did before, but a different one.
Bigger.
We're going to be doing another kit bash. This time, we're going to be kit bashing together Spelljammer Dahani. Since Dahani has shown up and was in that awesome Spelljammer outfit. So we're going to be using some Were Ravens and some awesome kit bashing in order to make that happen. And then it's time for some Mind Flayers because, it's time. It's time we do some Mind Flayers.
It's fun.
So I'll go ahead when I put the information into the Discord that I said I was going to, that I forgot what I was going to before, but I'll remember. I'll put this in here as well so that you can get prepared to join us at the beginning of the year. We've kind of got the next couple of months fairly well planned. There's still a few things that are coming together, but I'm excited.
I'm looking forward to it. And that's also why I've made a point to mention the particular paints that we're using, especially for the Spelljammer Dahani skin-inspired miniature. I am going to be tapping into those very vivid, bright, gorgeous colors that you can find in the prismatic paint line, specifically because of how gorgeous the Dahani skin, Spelljammer skin. Oh my god, it's so pretty. It really is a gorgeous skin. So yeah, that's why I'm excited, because we're going to start doing some cool things with different colors for some of the minis that we're going to be working on.
It'll be neat.
And if there are minis that you would like to see us paint, or suggestions that you have, go ahead and put those in that Discord channel for us to take a look at. Like I said, we kind of plan these out in advance, so it may take a while if we are able to get to your suggestion, but we're always interested.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, because we try to pull things that are obviously in the Idle Champions game, but guess what? There's a lot in the game. There's a ton of things in the game.
There's a whole bunch. Okay, do you have your green gray nearby? It's the one from the Chimera kit that we had. Remember how we were talking about how paints last forever? These, I think we've used these now like 4 other minis besides just the Chimera. It's an actual thing. All right, I need to mix this
Tail
up a little
salad.
bit.
That's a camo thing.
You want that green gray?
I'm sure. Yes, green gray.
Excellent. All right, so we're going to start dry brushing with green gray, and we're going to build the shadow layers up.
Oh, shoot. Minis. I got to grab myself a dry brush.
Dribbish. A DB, a dry brush.
We're so far ahead that we're actually getting into dry-brushing.
Yeah, dry-brushing. We still have about 8 minutes left. We can get some progress started on this one. And since we're not mixing the color, if we need to come back to dry brushing next week, we're good.
That makes sense.
Yep. Okay, so.
Hi, green gray. How you doing?
And dry brush is basically a technique that helps bring out details by loading a little bit of paint onto the brush, removing it on a paper towel until the brush is almost dry, and then sweeping it across the details of the mini, making sure to keep the brush working across the grain and not with the grain of the details, like I'm doing here with the folds of the skirt. But you can see it makes those details pop. Out they come to play.
Yeah. Are you doing the whole mini, or are you just
whole
doing
mini,
like
all of it?
Whole mini.
Yeah, we're doing the whole mini. The whole shebang. We're actually going to do a couple
I didn't think we'd actually get into dry brushing today. I'm excited.
Me too. Honestly, things stuck together a lot better than I was predicting, so I'm happy about that. Just be careful around your hand when you go to dry brush, Lauren.
Yeah. Yep.
The arms you'll want to be a little bit more delicate with.
I'm already considering how to stash this for next week. How to store this so that it doesn't. I don't pull it out for next week and suddenly have something that's handless.
Yeah. Very fair. Very fair. Man, look at all the texture on that pouch.
Look. Belsman says, I tend to have too much paint on my brush when I dry brush, so mostly I wet brush. Oops. Hey, listen, I totally get that. That is a constant thing. A skill I am working on to dry brush, not brush.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm way better at the not having too much on my brush. I'm pretty good now at having just the right amount of paint on my brush. The problem I've been running into is that I keep going back and doing more 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 and doing more. And then suddenly I've just painted. In many layers of dry brushing.
That is definitely a thing that happens as you're first learning the technique and getting used to it. I mean, heck, there are times where I'm not paying attention like I should, and I see it.
Man, these sinewy arms. Oof.
Right? She's got some really interesting.
Impressed.
Yeah. This is why I want to do the shadow layer treatment, because we're going to do shadow layer on her and then do glazing. So she really has a high detail effect.
Man, the folds of this go in all kinds of different directions. So
It really do. Boy, am I glad
It's
we did
cool, but
not
it's a
put the
challenge.
cauldron and stuff in front of this. This would have been a pain to do with the cauldron in the way.
Oh yeah. Yeah, for sure.
No thank yous. Good grief. The face has some fantastic details on it.
Yeah, for something so small.
Mm-hmm.
The amount of detail they get in these minis is just outstanding.
It really is wonderful. To be able to bring them out and just like, oh, I didn't even realize that was there until I started doing this part.
Mm-hmm. Like even just the
adventure.
ridges on the horns.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, Apple, we got you.
Like even the
Nice
neck
and-
folds. Look at, she got these neck folds going on.
That's a sentence.
Yep. Get them neck folds.
Yeah, you know what? I could live without the neck folds. I'll take the strong arms. I'll live without the neck folds.
Right?
I'm okay without those.
Yeah, it's a little tap under your chin trick. What movie was that from? She had like this whole big, it was almost like a wand with a paddle at the end, and she would just sit there and like pat under her chin.
I have no idea. I didn't even know that was a thing.
It is a thing, and I'm trying to remember what movie that was from that I watched, and it was just so funny.
Chat, are you helping? Can you help with that?
Is that ringing a bell for anyone in chat? I want to say she was like
It's not
royalty, almost like an evil queen.
I don't know. It's not for me, but I am not necessarily someone who's very well versed in movies. So
yeah, that's fair. Did I just body shame a hag? Of course I did.
I mean, it's a hag. For all we know, it's a compliment.
Right?
All right.
Oh, look at that.
Oof. And we're in the last 2 minutes.
We are
so
getting the last 2 minutes. Yep. So I got the
Yeah.
hag done, which means I'll have to do the candy cane and the gingerbread boy next week. But still, this is a
Same.
great nod to what we're going to start getting to look forward to.
My camera isn't going to pick it up nearly as well, but even with my not good for mini camera, you can see a lot
So
more of
much
the
going
detail
on.
has come out.
There
Even though
is so
my
much.
I ended up with a darker primer than V did, which is fine. It just means
yeah.
I used a different mixture of the black and the gray and everything.
Mhm.
And so even on the dark, so much of that detail came out.
Yeah. It's going to be a lot of fun to work with this one. All right. I could do this for far too long. I'm going to set her down.
We can do this all day.
I could. I have. All right. Put that down.
We do have to stop because we've got Garwar's Guide to Everything coming up next. Thank you to everybody in chat, especially those who were helping with our timing because, super glue. Thanks to Martin for being an amazing moderator and helping out with answering questions in chat. I see you doing the how-to code. Thank you to V as always. It's been fun. I missed we got a chance to hang out and do other things, but I've missed doing this.
Oh yeah, totally. This is always fun to do. So we'll see you for the last Paint and Slay of 2022 next Friday as we finish up our fabulous Night Hag. So we'll have some fun with that one. Until then, everyone.
Bye.